Wilkinson here. Thanks for joining us again today. It would really help me a lot if you did a couple things if you're enjoying these episodes. First of all, hit that subscribe button below. It really helps me out. Secondly, if you are enjoying the podcast, hit that like button. That's a little thumbs up down there. Leave a comment. Let me know which episodes you like, and I'll try to do more like that. Thanks a lot, and I hope you enjoy today's episode. Greetings, Wilkinson here. Happy 2023. We made it. Another year. Today I am with Kevin Yacavelli, and we met at a party yesterday. And he said, I have a story. I thought, well, tell me. He started telling me, and I thought, yep, that's the story. So he's here with me this morning. Say hi to my guys.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
Glad to have you.
Good to be here.
And his husband is sitting here observing, so we have an audience for the first time, I think. Why don't you say hi from your standpoint?
Hello, how's everybody?
So that's Rich. He's sitting here and he's listening. He's making sure we don't swear or something like that.
No,
we can swear. It's okay.
He's just here for the experience.
Okay. Well, anyway, welcome, Kevin. So we started to talk, which I always do with people before we start these things, and I thought, let's just roll with it. So let's back up, because I don't want to have you repeat too much. Tell me a little about your growing up, your situation, where you were. Set the stage here.
Well, I grew up in Metro West Boston, Massachusetts, a little town called Milford, Massachusetts. And parents got divorced when I was young. I was 2. My mother actually was having an affair with someone at her hospital that she worked with. She worked overnight as a secretary, and she started having an affair with one of the doctors. Someone that she worked with knew my father and told my father about it. And so subsequently they got separated and divorced when I was 2 years old in 1979. And then both of my parents started pursuing other interests in their lives. You know, they kind of wanted to find other people to be with. My mother has a tendency to go for like the alcoholic kind of needy type, and my father likes controlling women.
What was the doctor, not an alcoholic?
I don't know. I don't know.
She didn't end up with him though, right?
No. And my father certainly was not an alcoholic, and so he wasn't interesting enough for her.
Anyway, so then what?
Well,
you're 2 years old, they're divorced.
Yeah, they're divorced. You know, my mother gets married to an alcoholic. My father stays single for a little while, but I have a younger brother from that marriage, and so we were kind of left by ourselves to fend for ourselves, really, at a young age. So I started taking care of my brother at a very young age.
And he's how many years younger than you?
He's 3 years younger than me. So
right.
I was 5 and he was 2. But I didn't really get to have much of a childhood, I guess. And I was very shy around other kids. I had a difficult time kind of being around other kids anyways. So everything kind of like added up. And it was an interesting situation, you know, when finally my father met this woman and they got married, and my father wanted us to come live with him because my mother was not really doing a very good job of raising us. And when we did go move in with him and his new wife, she had 2 other kids. And so it was very, my brother and I were the odd men out, just kind of like a business arrangement. You know, we were kind of, I don't want to say pushed aside, but our needs and kind of wants were not as met as the other kids' needs and wants were.
How old are you when you went to live with your father?
I was 12.
12, okay.
Yep. And so it was good for a few years. Finally had like stability in my life, and there was like actually a figure there that was doing the cooking and cleaning for us. I didn't have to do any of that. But along with that came all these other types of like rules and regulations that I was not used to having, and I was kind of rebellious.
Rules like what?
You have to take your shoes off before you come in the house. And if you forget to take your shoes off, it was like got the 3rd degree, and it was terrible. I was always grounded. I was constantly getting grounded. And so I wasn't able to hang out with my friends. And at that time, I was kind of, coming into my sexuality, and they wouldn't let me see anybody who they thought could possibly be a homosexual. Several other kids in my class that were kind of femmy that were suspected to be gay, and I was not allowed to see those people.
Well, that seems a little odd to me. Were they suspecting something with you or what?
Yeah, I think so. Before I told them that I thought I was bisexual, of course, when I was 15 or 16 years old.
Okay.
And that was just kind of like, I don't know, reason for me not to be there. Just because I was a bad influence, say, on the other kids.
So you'd have a friend come over, or you'd
I never had friends come over.
And then they'd say, these 2 family, you can't be with them, or what?
No, well, there are these 2 people in particular that we knew. One of them went to our church.
Okay.
And another one just was known. Like, we just knew him. And
were they in fact gay, do you think?
Yes, they both did turn out to be gay.
Okay.
Yes. But they didn't come out of the closet until after high school. I came out when I was 16.
So you went from I'm bi to I'm gay?
Yeah, pretty much.
So you just sit them down and tell them, or what?
Yeah. I went into their room and told them I had a crush on John Lennon.
On John Lennon.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So what was their response?
They told me not to tell anybody. They said just it'll be easier for me if I just don't say anything, keep living my life.
So it won't upset their apple cart is really what they were
Pretty
saying,
much,
right?
yeah. My dad was there. They were both teachers in the public school system, which I mean, really had a lot to do with a lot of things, like the shame and the embarrassment of just having us in the first place. Was like difficult because it was a small town, and
Having you in what way?
well, like just the fact that we came from this marriage that didn't work, and my mom cheated on my dad, and it was this big scandal in town. It was
Okay.
It's kind of dumb. And my dad being a very prominent member of the school system, it was kind of weird.
Yeah, it sounds a little weird.
Yeah, it was strange.
Okay, so you're 16.
Yeah.
Did you say you were 15 or 16 when you came out?
I was 16.
16.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, 15. 16 when they asked me to leave.
They asked you to leave.
Yeah. And that story is kind of interesting. I had always suffered from really extreme anxiety as a child,
Okay.
and as a young man. And I would take baths. And taking baths was the only thing that kind of broke up that anxiety for me.
Calmed you down.
Calmed me down,
Right.
allowed me to just relax, the warm
Right.
water, And so I would take a bath every day after school. It was kind of like my medicine. But one time I let the water kind of overflow, and it went through the ceiling into the kitchen down below.
Oops.
And so I wasn't allowed to take baths
anymore.
anymore.
Not going to like this.
Yeah. No, stepmother did not like that at all. And so I was not allowed to take baths. And
You were not allowed to take baths
right.
after that.
Yes. I could only take showers. And
Well, that's kind of harsh.
the excuse was that boys aren't supposed to take baths, because they knew that I was kind of gay at the time and trying to make me more masculine, I suppose. Not allowing me to take a bath was going to certainly do that, that was going
Right.
to toughen me up. And so one day I came home and took a bath, and they found out. I got in trouble. I was grounded, and I wrote a letter to my friend Shannon, like a little note, it says, I'm grounded again. The name of my stepmother. She's such a cunt. I'm grounded again for taking a bath. And it just went on and on. I never gave the letter to my friend. I put it up inside of my closet.
You have a Snoopy stepmother?
Stepmom who's always looking for reasons to get me out of the house, So
Okay.
I left to go to this music performance. I was singing, I was competing in this performance, and I forgot my music. So I ran back into the house with my shoes on,
Oh, no.
up the stairs, grabbed my music. She's yelling the whole time, take your shoes off, blah, blah, blah. So I ran down, I just ignored her. I ran downstairs, grabbed my music, and went away for the weekend. When concert was over, my father was there, and no one else was there. Normally, my grandparents would come, and it was just my dad. And he has the note in his hand.
At the concert?
At the concert, yeah. And
Really?
He has the note in his hand. He's like, Kevin, we're kicking you out. And that was that.
He doesn't seem like a very good teacher.
He's a pussy whipped man.
So they kicked you out.
Yep.
I mean, how did that actually unfold? You went home, packed your stuff,
Went
and
home,
left?
packed my stuff, and they dropped me off at my mother's house, who was
And did
living.
she know you were coming?
She did not know I was coming.
Really?
Yeah. She was living with her alcoholic boyfriend. They're now married. And he didn't like me because he's kind of gay too.
Really?
Yeah. So he doesn't, he doesn't want me being around because he's, oh, Kevin, you look just like your mother. Oh my God. If you're from that angle, you look just like your mother. And he's always giving me fashion tips, and it's weird. But anyways, they caught me smoking pot. And so they kicked me out of their place. So
How long were you there?
maybe 2 or 3 weeks.
That's all.
Yeah. And then I went to go live with a friend of mine from high school whose mom took in foster kids. And even though I wasn't technically a foster kid, she let me stay with her until
wow.
I finished high school. Yeah.
So you stayed a couple of years with her?
Oh, a year.
A year?
Yep. Yeah, I graduated in 1995 when I was 17. So
How was that experience there?
it was great. I could just kind of live my life and go to school. And the girl I was living with was one of my best friends.
Did the mother know you were gay?
Yes.
Was the kid gay?
Nope.
But they were all cool with it?
Yep. They were cool with it. I actually had any sort of, acceptance for who I was.
Right.
So it was good.
Huh. How'd that feel?
It felt good. It felt like I had just space to be myself. Even though I was still living in this really small town and I didn't really have a lot of outlets, but
Right.
at least I could take a bath if I wanted to. And I didn't have to, feel weird about taking a bath. I still feel guilty taking baths sometimes. It's strange.
Oh, wow. So you're 17, you've graduated. What's the next?
17, I graduated. I stuck around for the summer. Just, I was petrified to go to college because I didn't know about having a roommate in a dorm, being gay in that situation, in group showers or dormitory life, being a gay kid. Because at that time, I didn't know how many gay people there were. I thought that the closest gay person was in New York City, a 3-hour drive away. I thought that I was seriously the only gay kid in Massachusetts. So I certainly was petrified to go to college. So I didn't go. And I just did these stupid manual jobs until I decided that I was going to go live in the woods in Arizona. And
There's woods in Arizona?
Yeah.
I guess I don't know Arizona.
You don't know Arizona?
I picture it as desert.
Right? Yeah. But just like here, there are woods at higher elevations.
Okay.
So I was in Flagstaff. I took a bus to Flagstaff, Arizona. and just kind of like started living in the woods.
How did you pick Flagstaff?
My uncle lived in Phoenix.
Okay.
And I was going to go to Phoenix, but on the bus, the people told me on the bus that you should go to Flagstaff because there's more trees there and you can actually live in the woods. Whereas in Phoenix, it's very deserty and sunny and it will be more difficult for me. So I got off in Flagstaff instead of Phoenix.
So you're getting off the bus, you have nowhere to go.
Yep.
So where'd you go?
Well, the first thing I tried to do was buy a bag of weed. So I did.
Well,
I
that's
found a bag
important.
of pot. Then I went up behind this housing complex behind the Lowell Observatory where they discovered Pluto. And I camped out behind this huge observatory building, that opens up at night and can look at the stars.
Did you have a tent or anything? Or?
Yeah, I had a tent.
So
I had a sleeping
you had
bag.
stuff with you.
Yep. Very minimal stuff, stuff I thought that I would need. I guess I used it. My tent and my sleeping bag, basically. I ate out of dumpsters, spare change.
I was going to say, did you have any money with you?
I had no money. No
money.
No. Would ask people for money, begging on the street. I was 17 years old. I looked like I was 12, so people probably had this, they felt bad for me or something. And, I would save up enough money to get a burrito, which is $3. And it was like a huge bean burrito. And I would eat one of those every day. And I sold my plasma.
Really?
Yeah, 3 times a week. So back then it was before, they asked me, you can't sell your plasma if you're gay, or if you can't give your blood if you're gay. So I didn't tell them that I was. I learned that lesson, telling people that. So I was able to sell my plasma.
Were you with other guys during that period or not?
No, not really. No.
So it was, maybe you were lying technically, but not really. For what? For their purposes.
For their purposes. I didn't feel like, it's all about AIDS.
Right.
So I didn't feel like I was going to give anybody AIDS at that point.
Right.
Also, I didn't really want to be gay. I felt like I was it was a curse or something, that I just wanted to be normal. I just wanted to have a normal life. I just wanted to feel normally about other men, whatever that means. I wanted to feel normally about other women.
Was there a religious element here, or where'd that come from?
Yeah. One of my mother's husbands and my next door neighbor, they were born again Christians. And so we became part of this born again Christian sect several years in my early childhood.
And was that same guy an alcoholic?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a nice combo.
Oh, well, a lot of born again Christians are, past whatever,
right?
So, and I loved it. I loved the church. I loved the feeling of community. I loved the singing and the emotional aspect of it was great. And I really believed in it. I really believed in the story. I really believed that we were going to heaven and everyone else was going to hell. And it was a strange, the end of the world was coming anytime.
Right.
I
put a timestamp on that. So how old were you? You were with your mother and this other guy at that point. You were, where were you?
Between the ages of 6 to 10.
Okay, so in that phase, okay.
Yeah, very formative years. The wiring was placed. The wiring was made in my head. It took a long time to get rid of that.
So did you get rid of it?
Yeah.
You're not religious today.
I wouldn't say I'm religious. No.
Are you spiritual?
I believe I have a very strong connection with whatever it is that is up there. I do use that as part of my daily life, but I don't believe. Who am I to say anything is true or not? But for me.
Well, we never know, really know.
The Jesus story doesn't really add up for me.
Right.
Yeah.
I get it. All right. So go back to you're in the woods.
Yeah. And what can I say? It was just day-to-day life.
How long did that period last?
My grandfather died.
Okay.
And my father got in touch with me.
So your father's father.
My father's father.
Okay.
And we were close. He didn't know that I was gay. He didn't understand why I was living in the woods in Arizona. It was upsetting to my grandparents. They were there. My grandparents were very much there when I was younger, and they were one of the only stable parts of my life was them. So my grandfather was dying.
And are they in Massachusetts as well?
They are currently in Massachusetts at the time, yeah.
Okay.
In my hometown.
So he passed.
My father bought me a plane ticket to come home to see him before he died.
Oh, before he died. Okay.
But I was in Flagstaff, and my father bought me a ticket from Phoenix because it's cheaper, but he doesn't understand that it's a 4-hour drive and I don't have any money. And how am I supposed to get to Phoenix? So someone gave me a ride to Phoenix, dropped me off right at the bottom of Phoenix on Baseline Road. At that time, Baseline Road was the lowest part of Phoenix pretty much. And I had $3 and I had no idea how to get to the airport. So I just got on a bus thinking that eventually I'd figure the system out and it would take me to the airport. But it didn't. It took me in the opposite direction. And now I have no money. And so I walked to the airport. It took me all day and into the night. It took me at least 12 hours to walk across Phoenix. Phoenix is a huge city.
Yeah, I've been there. It's sprawl.
It's all sprawl, right? So I walked through the sprawl all day and to the
when
airport.
was the ticket? I mean, you got there in time?
No, I missed my flight.
You missed it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And my dad just got me another ticket. By the time I got home, my grandfather died.
Wow.
So I didn't get a chance to see him. But I did his eulogy.
Did
actually,
you?
Yeah, they asked me to do his eulogy, which is strange. And then I went back to Arizona.
Your grandmother was still alive?
My grandmother was still alive. Yeah, I went back to I got on another bus. I've taken the Greyhound bus across the country at least 16 times.
Whoa. I did that once in my life. No, thank you.
Yeah, right. Well, see, luckily I was young.
Right.
I couldn't do that now, you know.
How'd you get the money for the bus ticket?
My dad gave me the ticket.
He did?
The money. Yeah. Begrudgingly. He was upset. He didn't realize why. He told, you are leaving. You're going as far away from us as you possibly can. He didn't understand.
Well, what would make him think that you wanted to be there?
You mean back in Massachusetts?
Yeah, with them. After everything
because
that happened.
my father is, this is what you're supposed to do now. You graduate from high school. Now you're supposed to go to college. And now you're supposed to do this. And now you're supposed to do this and get a job and get married. And there's no room for anything else. He didn't understand why I wouldn't want to be there because my father he doesn't see outside of his way of doing things. I guess. And I love my father. We have a great relationship today.
Well, I was just going to add, that was my next question.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
We talk on the phone. I speak to my stepmother. We are closer today than ever.
So this is the same one that you wrote the letter? The same one?
Same one.
Okay. She's come around too or not?
No, I've learned how to
negotiate.
I've learned how to be what they want me to be in the moment so that we can have some sort of relationship, But now I'm doing well in my life. I have a job. I'm successful. I'm married. We can travel. And so now they're more accepting of me because I'm doing better. When I wasn't doing well, they didn't really want to have anything to do with me. It's very conditional.
I was going to say, wow.
It's always been that way.
You're in the woods. You're not in the woods now, so.
Yeah, well, I came back to Arizona and it was snowing in Flagstaff. And so I spent a few nights sleeping in the woods. And let me tell you, the ground will always win when it comes to taking your heat. The ground will always win.
Right.
It was cold, Right. So I had met some people by this time in town, some hippies, and they were going to a rainbow gathering outside the Salton Sea right here. And I went with them and spent June, July, and August on the desert in the Salton Sea.
What year?
1997.
Okay.
I'd say 1997. And so I did that, and I was so shy, so unsure of myself, of my sexuality, living in this. I just felt like no one wanted gay people around. That's the picture I had gotten as a kid. And so why would these people want gay people around?
And I'm doing the math here. So you're what, 20 at this point?
18, 19.
Well, you were born in 77?
Yeah.
And this is 97?
Yeah. So it's
19
20.
to 20, yeah.
Yeah, it was 20,
okay.
yeah.
All right. You're getting a B on your math. I'm sorry.
I'm terrible with math. And, the whole timeline at this time in my life is only recently made sense to me.
So anyway, so you're there at 1920-ish. Okay.
Yeah, 1920s, living on the desert now. Outside of Yuma, Arizona, in between there and the Salton Sea, living with a bunch of hippies.
Wait, now are you in Arizona or are you at the Salton Sea? Because these are two different places.
It's kind of the border. Yeah, the border. I'm in California.
Okay.
There's Yuma, Arizona, and then there's this desert.
Oh, is it that close?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yuma's kind of on the border.
I'm geographically handicapped, so.
I'm not.
I'll do the math. You do that.
Good. Okay. You do the math. I'll do the geography. Yeah.
All right. So you're there.
And I wasn't talking to anybody. I spent the whole summer silent because someone teased me the first day I got there. We're sitting around in a circle and smoking a bowl, and a bowl is being passed around. And a girl gives me the bowl, and as I'm going to reach for it, she pulls it away. And then she did it again, and she pulls it away. And so I just got up and I left the circle because I was so mortified and embarrassed,
Well, that wasn't very cool when you think about it.
No, but then, actually I was thinking about this a couple of days ago, and perhaps she was flirting with me and I didn't know that, So
I hadn't thought of that angle.
That just came to me the other day because I think about things like confusing points in my life all the time and try to make sense of them. And so this is 25 years later, this is the conclusion I came to, that she was flirting with me and that the whole entire time I didn't have to be. I left the gathering and kind of lived on the periphery of it.
For the rest of the time?
Yeah.
And no one reached out to you?
No, just old men that wanted to have sex with me.
Oh, okay.
Which is fine, but I didn't. I mean, I didn't want to be gay. I wasn't trying to be that way, but I wasn't trying to enforce those feelings inside of me.
So had you ever been with a guy at that point?
Yes.
You had?
I had. Yep.
So you had tried it out?
Yep. I've been with a man and a woman. I actually had a girlfriend in high school that my parents didn't want me to be with because she was a foster kid.
She didn't make the cut.
She didn't make the cut for them. So I guess,
Right.
then I started seeing a guy. And actually, she lived in the house that I actually ended up living in. After my parents kicked me out, she lived with those people.
So she was one of the foster kids there?
Yeah, but she no longer lived there.
Okay.
But it was just ironic that,
it's a small world.
They turned me into what they didn't want me to be around.
Right. Karma can be a bitch sometimes, I guess.
Yeah, indeed.
All right. So next leg of your journey.
So, we're in the desert and the gathering's coming to a close and everybody's leaving and I have no way of getting out. So
you're in the desert, no money.
I'm in the desert, no money.
Alone.
I had taken a nap underneath a tree, not a tree, but a bush in the desert. And I woke up and it was very sunny and, the desert it can be very disorienting.
Right.
And I walked away from where I was taking my nap and I couldn't find my stuff. So now I had lost all my stuff as well. So I had only what I was wearing.
Literally, it was gone?
Literally, I searched and searched and I could not find it. I had my backpack, my tent, all my camping gear and my journals and all that. So I have nothing. I feel completely broken. And these, a group of people in a Volkswagen bus were like, well, we're going to go to San Francisco if you want to ride. And I thought, well, I really wanted to go back to Boston because I didn't have anything, and I didn't know. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. So I thought maybe I could get a plane ticket back to Boston. And I don't know what I was going to do, but so they gave me a ride to San Diego and dropped me off at the airport. And I wonder how my life would change had I went to San Francisco with them. I would probably be dead.
How so?
Well, because at that point in my life, I was looking for experiences. I was looking to get in trouble. I was looking to do like drugs. And I wanted a situation in my life that was very far removed from what I had come from. I was unsatisfied with the things I had been shown in my life up until that point, and I was looking for something that resonated more with me. And I still had this like crippling anxiety and depression. And so far, the only thing that I had found up to that point that worked for me besides taking baths was like smoking pot and doing other drugs that like kind of took me away from that, and at that point, I think in the late 90s in San Francisco, there was probably not the best thing for me to be a street kid. I would probably end up prostituting myself to buy drugs, and I probably would have ended up dying. So I made a better decision for my longevity.
So they dropped you at the San Diego airport with no money.
Nothing. I looked like a homeless, smelly homeless kid, living on the desert, washing with sand for the past 3 months. And, I was wicked skinny, scraggly beard. I still looked like I was 12 years old. Father would not get me a plane ticket. And so I'm at the airport. And so I'm downtrodden. I look downtrodden. I'm walking out the airport door and a woman comes in and she looks at me. She looks like Stevie Nicks.
Really?
She's like, what's going on with you? You look terrible, And I just got out of this rainbow gathering and I tell her the story really quickly. She's there picking up her friend from Washington. And she said, okay, well, you can come home with me. So go sit over there and I'm going to go pick up my friend. At that point, you could walk to the gate to pick up the people at the airport. And she went to the gate and she's like, I'll come pick you up over there. I have a blue pickup truck. Okay. I went to sit down. She wasn't coming. It took like half an hour. So I went to go looking for her and I found the blue pickup truck and I found them and they let me in the truck. They took me to a strip club. She was a stripper and she was trying to get out of the business. It turns out he was bringing her meth to start distributing.
So the friend was a male.
The friend was a male.
Gotcha.
Yep. And he was delivering her drugs. Crystal meth that she was going to start distributing in San Diego.
Did she need an assistant or what? Or was she truly being kind to you?
She was truly being kind to me.
Okay.
She was. Her name was Claire, and she was truly being kind to me, and I'm grateful to her. The situation turns... I had figured out pretty quickly that they were using drugs, because as I came up to the car, to the window, I was on the passenger side, and I looked in, and I saw Claire coming up with her finger on her nose, like looking at me from the console. She had just sniffed a line of something,
Right, Coke or something.
Or something.
Right, okay.
Anyways, we go to the strip club. I didn't say anything. She gives me a stack of dollar bills and tells me to go pay the girls, go look at the girls at the bar. And so here I am looking at these girls come around, and if I find out that if you give them money, they'll go away, so it would come up and like...
So you were paying them to go away.
Paying them to go away,
Yeah. Okay.
Eventually my stack of dollars diminishes and I go and I I go back to them what they're talking, and they were talking about business. I'm sure they didn't want me to hear what they were talking about. We end up going back to Claire's house. You know, it was great. We were listening to music, and I was listening to the Talking Heads and all this music I hadn't listened to, and they were really cool people. I fell asleep on an air mattress in the kitchen, and I woke up, and they were in the exact same position. They were still awake. I had suspected that they were doing something.
Right.
You know, so something was going on. And they had told me the story about how, you know, being a dancer is very difficult. And now Claire is getting into be in her 30s. And, you know, it's difficult on the joints and having to wear those shoes all the time and just like difficult on her knees and everything. So she was trying to get out of the business. And Bob was his name. Bob was bringing her the drugs to try to sell, right? So she told me to go wash my clothes after I woke up.
And take a bath.
Yeah. And I did.
Did you get to take a bath?
I did. I actually did take a bath, yes. And I took a bath and then a shower because the bath water was black. You know.
Wow.
And I hadn't taken a bath in 3 months at least.
Wow.
Yeah. She gives me some of her husband's clothes. And just like a pair of shorts and a t-shirt.
She had a husband or a former husband?
She had a husband who was there. Yeah.
So the husband's there.
Yeah.
Claire's there and Bob's there.
And their kid, Isaac, was there.
Wow.
A little boy.
Little family group.
Yeah, like 7. And the husband's name was Greg, and he was missing an eye. He had a glass eye. I remember.
You can't make this shit up.
No. It gets better.
All right.
So I go to...
This should be a movie.
Yeah.
It really should.
It will be.
All right.
Yeah. I go to do my laundry outside. And, you know, in San Diego, people do their laundry outside, right? Sometimes the laundry machine's outside. And I'm looking through the drawers to find laundry detergent. And I find a bag of white powder, like half a gallon, like, you know, those gallon Ziploc bags.
Oh, no.
And half of it was filled with white powder. And so I took some out with my hands and I put it into the washing machine, you know, and I noticed that, like, it didn't get foamy. So I thought, this must be cocaine, I'm thinking, you know, and from everything I learned in health class, like it was kind of like powdery, yellowy substance, you know, and I took some, I put it in a cigarette pack, you know, in the cellophane to like do further investigation. But I washed my clothes with cocaine.
Did that come out clean?
It did come out clean, yes.
Wow. Who would have thunk?
Right. But I told Bob about it because at this point, Bob had kind of like gained my confidence. You know, he had read my tarot cards and he's like, I was looking for interesting people. You know what I mean? Right. I was looking for people that didn't fit the normal mold. And these people, I found them, right? And so I was getting as much information as I could from them, right? And Bob had gained my confidence. And so I told Bob about this. I showed it to him and he said, oh, that's not cocaine. Well, what is it? You know, well, don't worry about it. And so I said, okay. And I, you know, didn't want to talk about it with him anymore. And then he started threatening me. Basically, like, you know, these are my friends. And if anybody were to do anything to my friends, I would have something to do with that. You know, like I didn't really understand what he was doing because he
saw you as a threat of some sort.
Yeah. That I was going to tell somebody about what I had found or, you know, they were dealing drugs, you know,
right.
I didn't realize that at the time, but they were dealing drugs. So it was kind of stupid for her to bring me into the situation. Anyways, fast forward. My father buys me a bus ticket back to Boston. One of the times I took the Greyhound bus across the country again. And I was very tempted to take that bag of cocaine, you know, because it's a huge bag of cocaine. I have never seen anything like that. And never have I since seen such a large amount of cocaine.
Was it cocaine?
It was cocaine.
Even though he told you it wasn't?
Yes.
Okay.
I had taken some and crushed it up and rubbed it on my lips and my gums and it made me very numb. Uppers don't do anything for me.
Okay.
So I couldn't really tell. I didn't get high. Like I've done cocaine since that time and it doesn't really do anything for me. You know, I just kind of feel chill and normal. Okay. So I didn't take the bag of cocaine.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Claire pulls this old duffel bag out of the garage for me to hold the clothes that she gave me to take on the bus. Bob had given me crystal meth, a little bit of crystal meth before this, and he chopped it up for me and I snorted it. It didn't really do much for me. It kept me awake, but again, like I didn't really feel good or not what I hear people do when they do crystal meth. They say like, oh, it's amazing. I didn't do that. So he gave me a little bit and he said, this was to keep you awake so you don't fall asleep in the shady bus stations across the country. It's nice of him. So they dropped me off. I get on the bus. The first bus stop is Las Vegas. That's the first big bus stop, right? So we get off the bus, we're changing buses, come back in an hour. I walk around Las Vegas, I got the bag, I come back to the bus, I'm sitting on the bus, we're about to take off. I notice there's a delay, all these dogs are outside. There's a dog outside going up and down the luggage that's outside waiting to be on the bus, and I don't have any luggage out there. And then a man comes on the bus and comes right to me. And I didn't realize this at the time, but he came right to me. Where have you been? What are you doing? What's in the bag? Right. So yeah, I had like a duffel bag that Claire had given me.
But you had it with you, you didn't check it.
I didn't check it. Yeah.
Okay.
And he's nothing in my bag. He looks through my bag. He finds a little bit of crystal meth, but doesn't do anything about it. Just basically what he sees is an empty duffel bag with some clothes in it, and they leave. Then like all of a sudden I have all this credit on the bus. Like everybody like wants to sit and be my friend and talk to me, and it was strange. The bus culture is very strange. The back of the bus is the place you want to be if you're looking for a good time on a Greyhound bus trip across the country. You want to sit in the back of the bus
because the bathroom's there.
The bathroom's there, and yeah, sure, exactly, right.
All right. So why I don't get that. So you were like notorious because they came and picked you out,
right? Yeah,
okay.
Like I had like some respect on the street because let me just say,
and they didn't cart you away. So.
I was so naive, right? And they didn't cart me away. I was so naive at this point in my life. I had no idea what was going on. It wasn't until years later, that I figured it out. So I get home. A man has a seizure next to me on the bus, and I think he's dying. It was an interesting bus ride home. Anyways, I get home, and I get a call from Claire. A couple days later, I had given her my father's phone number. That's my husband's bag, and he's really upset that you took it and he wants it back, so you need to get that back to me. Okay. So of course I go and I search the bag, I tear it apart, nothing. It's just this old bag. It has a rusty metal zipper, it's an old greenish bag, and I never hear from them again. I never sent her the bag. I never hear from them again. Years and years go by. And of course this story just keeps resonating in my head. You know what I mean? And I hear Claire, that bag that you, and the guy that came on the bus and came right to me, and the dog's outside. And It all makes sense one day that they were drug dealers and they thought I was being watched. They watched them drop me off at the bus station. They watched me get off the bus in Las Vegas.
Because they would have been watching them, probably.
They were watching them. Yes.
Okay, so you were
so they thought
guilty
that I
by
was,
association.
Yes. Yeah, and they thought that I was involved somehow. And thank God I wasn't. Thank God I didn't take that bag of cocaine. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Had I done that, my life would be very different. Yes, my life would have been very different. Yeah. So one day I'm making lunch and it all comes to me. Like I hear Claire, that my husband's bag, and he's really pissed off that you have it. And that would just go on in my head over and over again. In the situation of the guy getting on the bus and coming over to me and talking to me, and where were you, and how, where were you been? And it all made sense to me that Claire was talking about that bag of cocaine. That she thought that I had taken the bag of cocaine and Bob must have taken it.
Oh, so it wasn't the duffel bag.
Yes, she wasn't talking about that over the phone. She couldn't say, hey, you know that bag of cocaine that you took from me over the phone?
Well, she didn't expect you to mail cocaine to her, though.
I don't know what she expected. I have no idea what she thought was going to happen. I don't know.
I don't know. It seems weird that she would want you to mail her that. That's crazy.
Well, she was probably I'm thinking she was in a desperate situation,
And she probably was high too.
That was thousands and thousands of dollars worth of product, So
you think Bob took it?
I think Bob took it and blamed it on me. If I was watched and searched, Bob was probably watched and searched as well. And so
they probably
all went to jail.
Right.
And I didn't hear anything back from them since. But that, that is my an example of just how naive I was at this time in my life, how I'm looking for something and I certainly found it. So I never heard from them again. And that was definitely a coming of age for me, but that's that part of the story.
That's that part of the story.
That's that part of the story.
We're going to have her come back and do another part. So we're going to end that part here.
Yeah.
Because that kind of is the end of that story. That's a crazy life so far.
And I'm extremely grateful, that whatever was guiding me at that point, was like, no, leave the bag, don't take that bag. And
so what is your takeaway from that part of your story? What did you learn from it? What can you share with the people listening?
The only thing I can take away from this is that something is watching me, something is helping me, that there is a higher being or beings that know that we have divine purpose, and that me going to jail was not part of that divine purpose, that I was giving another chance, I guess. I don't have anything too profound to say about that, but
I think that's pretty profound.
I wasn't supposed to go to jail, and I was supposed to do whatever it is else I was supposed to do after that.
Well, we're going to hear about what that is. But thanks for coming in.
Oh, thank you so much.